See him grabbing the string out of the hook there. Now, coming farther south, 6th Avenue, the name of this station was later changed to Titlow. It's right by the Titlow swimming pool. I was sent there once to relieve the agent for 2 weeks, and there was a hog farmer over in Gig Harbor. And his little pigs had been showing up dead. And he filed a claim against Union Pacific and got $50,000.
Oh my God.
Well, I landed there when the first car of hogs he came in after he got that claim. And so all day long the phone rang with Union Pacific, everybody from Omaha West. Are you going to be there now to inspect these pigs when they get off? Well, I'm going to be here. And the train was supposed to get there like 5 o'clock, and then it would be 7 o'clock, and then 9, and then finally at midnight, they took the car out. Backed the truck up, opened the gate, put a plank down, and out swarmed these little pigs, dark as could be. And they all went scurrying into the truck and away they went. So the next day the phone rang. Well, how'd those pigs look to you? Well, they're fine to me. And here's your Sun Silicon station, which I understand now has been all boarded up. Gary, have you had any late update or is anybody else?
Probably got better update than I do.
What the plan is?
All boarded up, has reportedly suffered some earthquake damage 2 years ago. It's got a lot of significant structural rock damage. I don't know its future.
Well, the Stelicum is planning its sesquicentennial next year, and they got one group of people that are working on seeing if they can rehab the whole station. So that's one of the components that they're thinking about.
Now, Gary's dad was agent there for quite a while too, right?
Yeah, there's a couple of stories if you like to just for like how to pass on. My dad was there as an agent in 1954 and 55, and he was there when the station was robbed because the train at night, I think it was 401, 402, would drop off the mail.
Yep.
Stop there, and there was on the opposite side, you can't see it, was the baggage room. And a couple of escapees from McNeil Island were kind of laying in wait for all the government checks to pay the employees at McNeil Island. And they broke in, busted the windows out, broke in and stole 2 mail bags full of government checks, and then headed east towards Montana, where they caught up with them and were out actually taken to trial and jail. My dad had to go down to federal court and testify what he found when he went to work that morning when the station was broken into. He also, I used to also go to work with him down there with 1954 and 55, and my memories back then were, used to throw the mailbag off for the town of Silicon, first class mail. And I was with my dad one Tuesday morning when the southbound Great Northern passenger train 460 tossed off the mailbag. Unfortunately, it hit the front of the depot and bounced back onto the track in the wake of a northbound freight train that ran over it. And I looked up and with my dad, and I didn't know what to think, but my dad said, "Oh my God!" And it was just it looked like a feathered pillow. It exploded. With cut up mail, literally for about a mile down the track. And federal agents were around that for weeks, picking up little tiny slivers of mail, trying to piece it all back together. Just a couple of anecdotes about Silicon.
Another thing about Silicon, they had specially built Pullman cars with bars on the windows, prisoner cars. And the train that came through around noon or so, now and then, would have a prisoner car and stop and let the prisoners off on the way to McNeil Island. And then you all know the story of the second Tugboat Annie movie? It had Marjorie Rambeau and Alan Hale and the train, got off at Stilichen, and got aboard a tugboat at Stilichen and went into downtown Tacoma that way. There's a very nice picture of that in the Richards collection at the public library. Now, you all, Ketron, a couple miles south of Stilichen, they had a station. Was closed fairly early because of being double track and there wasn't too much train over need, but it does have the bay window where the telegraph operator sat, so we could look up and down the track when there was an operator there. And it also had a section house. For about every 10 miles of track before mechanized track gangs, they had a foreman and he'd probably have about 3 men, and they took care of that part of the track. Watch the
outhouse there.
And he was growing something on the vine there, maybe beans. Okay, this is the Nisqually station. I worked a lot there in my early days in 1944. And that warehouse there would be just almost stacked to the roof with barracks bags. And they were going out by Railway Express, and you spend your whole shift filling out little weight bills to paste from the tag that was on the barracks bag. And that's Frank Emmerich there. He was agent at Nisqually, and later on, in a previous picture, he was agent at Lakewood. A couple of neat automobiles there. Well, here we are. You want to stand on your head. This is the getting back Tacoma. This is the first station in Tacoma. Was down on the wharf below Stadium High School. And that's the location right there is where that first depot was.
That sank during a cave-in and floated out into the bay.
Well, I don't have, well, let's see. Suppose we can put that in right side up. You see that?
Yes.
Now, if I can back up to that. Reverse. Yeah. Okay. You see that little rise there on the end of the wharf? Okay, in 1894, that slid into the bay. There was a landslide. And that end of it, with the agent's office, got pushed right off into the bay. And it was a holiday, and there was nobody working at the time. Nobody lost their life. However, in that building there was the office safe. All kinds of rumors about how many millions of dollars were in that safe. Railroad finally decided it probably wasn't much of anything, but their divers went down, and a few years ago there was a diving crew who was going to go out and try and find it.
Oh, really?
Covered with so much silt now that never found it.
94 was a bigger flood year than 48 even. A lot of music.
Now, figure out where this one goes.
I'm gonna go back and look at what they want.
Well, in 1884, they built a kind of a wooden shed in the station. Tacoma wanted a nice big house, but Henry Villard had control of the railroad, and he was favoring Portland, so they got kind of a wooden shed. And that slide is in there somewhere, that this mix-up may or may not show up. At 17th and Pacific. But then Tacoma kept fussing, we're western terminus, we should have a beautiful station. And finally in 1911, they were going to do it in 1893, but that going broke that I mentioned deferred it until 1911. They finally opened Union Station. Now this is Union Station from the track side. And you see that's the concourse. That was 116 feet long. And you come into the rotunda upstairs, get your ticket, go down a little flight of stairs, go out onto the concourse, and there was 2 elevators and 2 flights of stairs to go down to track level, depending on what kind of track your train was leading on. Well, when they designed I-705, this was 1 foot too far out for I-705. And by that time, the railroad had moved out for the merger, and it just left Amtrak. And they said to Amtrak, well, if you wouldn't mind moving, we'd build you a new station. Well, Amtrak was delighted because it was a horrible heating bill, and the railroad hadn't maintained the building, and they were just glad to get out of it. So that's what happened. They moved to the Puyallup Avenue station. Save Our Station was formed to find some way of preserving it. There was a lot of, well, the Burlington Northern advertised it for developers, but nobody took it. So it was looking grim. Save Our Station went to bat, and make a long story short, Norm Dix became interested and got the money to make it into a federal courthouse, and it's become the centerpiece of all this marvelous expansion we're having in town. That's how the backside looks now with the concourse gone. Another significant Northern Pacific building in Tacoma was the NP headquarters building. As I said, the railroad was divided into divisions, but it was also divided in half. Eastern District and Western District. Actually, there was a Central District for a while that had a general manager that was supervised the divisions. And this was built in 1887. This, I believe, was in 1898. They had it all decorated for the Spanish-American War, veterans coming home. Of course, when I was a kid, this was the police station on that end. The NP moved out of this in 1922. Their general manager was the western half of Seattle, and the city took it over as a city hall annex. And actually, it was called the Labor Temple too. The Pierce County Labor Council had their offices there. And that's how it looks now. It's been renovated and restored, and it's all these buildings.
Where is it located?
That's on 7th and Pacific. My fantasy is that it would be just an ideal place for a Northern Pacific museum. But